6 and 2 3-year-olds. I'm tired. At any rate, he said, where are you going? Are you going to do your speaking thing? And I said, yes. And he said, oh, he's so cute. That's Eli. Eli got his shot yesterday for tetanus, and he's not feeling well. And that's his picture. That's a lot like me. What I wanted to tell you about, so Gabriel said, where are you going? I said, a university in South Jersey, Rowan. And he says, but you know nothing about boating. Why would you possibly? I said, no, you don't understand. I said, well, what would you tell them? And he said, well, what are you talking to them about? I said, well, it's a huge, wonderful educational facility, and they're all about change and growth. And he said, well, you could tell them if they need help, they can get action heroes. Which I think is a pretty capitalist way to go about this. Just go to Rite Aid and get a capitalist action figure. And then he said, or you can tell them to get a superhero, and that's a special action figure. Or, and this is what kills me, because he went like this, or they can be their own hero. So, thank you, good night, that's the speech. I mean, that kind of just says it, doesn't it? I mean, that's, and that's what I kind of want to get to, because I'm 69 years old. This is my second time around. I know he looks good. Doesn't he look good for 6? Anyhow. And I have 4 children, and these are my new teachers. I've taught for 50 years. I've been an acting teacher. And these are my new teachers. This is Eli Tambor. He is 3 years old. He has taught me the integrity of introspection and how to investigate and how to have fun with life. Can I have the next one? Let's see who this is going to be. This is Evie Tambor, ladies and gentlemen. She is 6, and she has taught me that indeed women are different than men. And I want to repeat that, women are different than men. And in her stature and in her stand, you can see all of her character. It's I love you, don't F with me. Can I have the next, please? This is my son. I didn't know about this picture. Gabriel Tambor, and he is my oldest boy, and he's my knight in shining armor. And he has taught me the humility and got me to reconnect with love in my heart and the world. He has brought me so much happiness, and he's indeed my teacher. Next, are there any more children? My God. Oh, that's Evie. That's Gabriel. He's reading. Next, wow. This is my son Hugo, who we almost had a divorce over his name. I wanted to call him Gus. My wife said that's a gas station attendant name. And so we've named our dog Gus. Is there anybody named Gus here, by the way? Oh, that man walking out. Good night, sir. And he has taught me, he is the funniest, most brilliant, most wonderful, loving. And these are my teachers. Do we have any more? Oh, there they are. Next. Oh, this is awful. This is my family, ladies and gentlemen. And that is Gus the dog. And there we are on our property. And there is my wife, Kasha. And there's my son sticking his fingers up his nose. Yes. So here's the deal. Thank you so much. Here's the deal. Thank you. I have taught for pretty close to 50 years. I've taught young actors and young people. Some have collected statues of celebration. Some are multimillionaires. Some have gone on to get Broadway shows and have become very famous. But what I want to tell you is that 80 to 85% of these students, these young actors with their dreams and their ideals, have stopped. The room is different. Good actors. Actors much better than me. Brilliant. Life-changing. Burned with zeal. Dedicated. There from 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock, 5 days a week. Studied. Voice, fencing, dance, improvisation. Stopped. Settled. Changed. Did something else. I had a gentleman come up to me, and I'd like to dedicate whatever I'm going to do tonight to him. And he said to me, I said, "How are things?" And he went, "I used to be somebody, and now I'm somebody else. Oh my God, what have I done?" So that's where I got the interest of what's keeping you? What's keeping you? And I do workshops and I go all over the nation. I love to go to colleges because that's where it really, really matters. And I go to corporations. I'm even doing a family in about, that sounds wrong. I'm doing a family in about 2 weeks. So just going, talking to their family. You know, so what's keeping you? When I was a young kid, I had I pitched in the softball league, and I was one of those kids. I was fat. I had a lisp. I was just out of place. I was the kid in the outfield who would be looking at grass and then looking at birds. I was out. A couple of people are shaking their heads saying, I can relate. I wasn't that guy. I couldn't find my place. I couldn't find my in. People didn't even understand what I was saying because I had a lisp. They say, "What's your name?" I say, "Jeff." And they say, "Great to meet you, Cliff." And I say, "No, Jeff." And they say, "Great to meet you, Cliff." And I was out of it. And they put me up one grade in my class because we moved to a new district, and I didn't understand what anybody was saying. So I'm fat, I have a lisp, no one's understand me, and I don't know what anybody's saying in my class. They are talking, the teacher is going, because I didn't understand. I lived across the street from a theater in San Francisco, and it was San Francisco State University, which I later went to. By the way, my tuition was $48 a semester. I know, same as yours. $48 a semester, not a unit, a semester. So that was Governor Pat Brown. Thank you, Governor Pat Brown. So I went across the street to this theater, and there were these 80-year-old men. They're really 18, but they seemed 80 to me. And they were rehearsing a play in the little theater called All's Quiet on the Western Front. And I walked in there, and I sat down in the dark, as I would be sitting in the dark for the next 50 years. And I sat down, and I saw these guys talking and acting, and I said, "Oh my God. What have I walked into? What is this?" And I went closer, and I went closer, and I went closer, and then I left. And I came back the next day and went closer and closer until finally I was sitting, and they knew I was there. What they did is they would stop while they were doing their lines, and they would talk about it, and they would work it, and they would do it again, and it was better. And I went, "Oh my God, you can rework your life like this." In other words, I belonged. I understood that. I came from a tough family. We're Russian, Hungarian. I actually filmed in Hungary. I thought there was something wrong with me psychologically, but I'm just Hungarian. They were very difficult people. So we were very, and Jewish. We were very loud in our family. We were very cutting. We had a lot of tragedy in our family. Life was very, very, very tough. But when I walked in this, and my parents could be very, they were very witty, but they could hit you. If you weren't prepared, they could just hit you with their words. And you had to be really careful. The corridor was very, very dangerous. You had to be sharp, and you had to develop a sense of humor because you had to move quickly, and you had to be nimble. And so I went to these actors, and then one day they said, "You, Cliff, come on up here." And I got up there, And they said, you can help us strike the set. Now, you know what that is? That's taking everything off. And there was a piece of celastic that looked like a boulder, and they said, take that off stage. And I said, me? Take that off? I can't take this off stage. And they said, pick it up and take it off stage. And it was made out of celastic, and I picked it up, and it went like that. And I burst into tears. And I found what I was going to do for the rest of my life, no matter what. And no one was going to stop me. I found my purpose. I know, highfalutin, but I found what I was going to do with my life. Thank God. I was connected. I understood myself. I understood my heart. I understood what I was going to do. I understood what my life was going to feel like. I understood that it was going to be tough, and it was going to be sensational, and I got to rework my life and stop and rework my life. Cut to 40 years later. I am on Broadway with a man named George C. Scott. Yes? George C. Scott. Patton. I'm co-starring with George C. Scott on Broadway. I was an understudy. I had 3 lines. That night, Hector Elizondo got ill. They put me on the stage. I was going to star on stage with George C. Scott. And they came to my dressing room and they said, are you ready? Do you know all the lines? And I said, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't need to run them. What they didn't know is I had no idea of one line. I was so scared. Have you ever been so scared that you couldn't move? Have you ever, how many? Yeah? The entire room. Okay. Right. So all sphincters closed, everything. Like, I sort of walked down like this. I'm very small, walked down. He was so worried about me. You understand, this is Broadway, and the word got out in New York that I was going on. And I was going to be on stage with George C. Scott. I came out, and I was supposed to carry him on stage. He gets a big entrance applause. I carry him. I play his servant. I put him down, and my first line is something about coming and going at the same time. And he always got a big laugh. And I put him down, he said his line, and I said my line, blah, 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 blah. Going and coming at the same time. And the audience went. And he took me, and he whispered in my ear, what's keeping you? And it was the same shot that went through me back there. And I went, in every life, there is one moment where you're either going to go that way or you're going to go that way. And they talk about it. They talk about it in books. They talk about it in fairy tales. This is the dragon. You're either going to kill the dragon or the dragon is going to kill you, right? And that was that moment. It was so clear. Time stopped, and I went, this is that moment. I am either going to step to the other side and be a successful, creative actor, or I am going to diminish into the herd of the afraid, I'm going to fall and kill myself, timid, the settled, I'm going to give up, I'm going to say, that's fine, let somebody else do it, or I'm going to go, F it, I'm the man. And I said the line, I got a laugh, and I went on, and I went on, and I gathered steam, and he just kept directing me. He kept saying if I had to go, and I played a servant, if I had to go get the water, he'd just go like this. And I'd go get the water, and he'd say, if I had to get the drapes, he'd go, and I'd get the drapes. And all of a sudden I went, this is about as easy as you can get. And the reason it was easy is because I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. And then I realized in the same instant, what's hard is when you don't do it. What's hard is when you step back and you settle. That's very, very, very hard. Cut to. Back to my acting class. Those kids were so excited about their lives, and you kids are so excited about your lives. This is a very, 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 very interesting time for you. You're either going to move through this, or you're going to not. You're either going to be interested, or you're going to be passionate. The stories I heard tonight and the speeches I heard tonight were people who were passionate and were outside thinkers. And so I'm concerned and have love for the young people in the room who are about to go out, because there's a revolution going on. You're talking to a guy who does a series on Amazon.com. There's a revolution. You have to be nimble. The rules are not the same. My kids are going to retire in 2065. What is the world going to be like? And how are we going to prepare? So one of the things I do to my kids is I teach them to be like those guys. God, they're nice. Look at him. Look how passionate he is, my little Hugo, about taking that picture. See, that's unafraid. They don't care about being good. They want to be bad. They don't care about making mistakes. They love making mistakes. So where's my first victim? And can we put the Agnes de Mille up? Okay, where are you? First victim. Look how she runs. No energy at all. Come on up. What's your name?
Janet.
Oh, do we have a microphone? Oh, here, Janet.
I have a microphone.
Just pick it up? Oh. All right, so this is Janet. Give her a hand. Now turn there, and that's I want you to read that, and I want you to read it well, read it good. This is a letter written to Agnes de Mille by Martha Graham. Agnes de Mille was very upset because she got an award and all her money for choreographing Oklahoma. And she thought she was a failure because she was getting sums and sums. Am I doing that? And sums and sums of money for something that she didn't really care all that much about. So read it well.
There is a vitality, a life
No.
force.
Read it well.
There is a vitality.